My thoughts and a quick breakdown of the slate coming to us for DC in 2025. The it factor for me for James Gunn is kind of wearing off. Guardians 1 is amazing, still one of the best MCU films to date. The Belko Experiment is one of his best projects, and no one really talks about the fact that he wrote that, I believe. Guardians 2, it's okay. It's not as bad as people make it out to be, but it's not nearly as good as Guardians 1 is. Suicide Squad was okay. It was cool to see something like Starro on the big screen, but overall, the film's not for me. The sense of violence is fun, but it wasn't balanced well. Guardians, the holiday special, was probably one of my least favorite MCU Phase 4 projects. Then there were like Thor 4 and She-Hulk. And here we are with the whole DC universe kind of on his back. The lineup's okay. I mean, it's not bad. There's some highlights that I'm going to run through them all in a minute here. But I'm not sold on this, of course. I need more information. I need set photos. I need trailers. I need a better synopsis. But overall, I'm not excited. But I'm not getting excited or anything, really. I'm optimistic. But to start off the lineup, we've got Superman Legacy is coming 2025, and we'll see if they keep the release date to this one. It's not an origin story, which is a great, great thing. And we know James Gunn is scripting and possibly directing this one. And, Safran got into it very briefly about, it not being an origin, which, it shouldn't be. We all know all the Trinity's origins. We don't need to go through and do them again and again and again. Although, there's not a lot to be said about this one. They didn't talk a whole lot about it. And I assume in the coming months, coming year, 2 years, we're going to see a lot more information leak out about this project as probably on James Gunn's Instagram or his Twitter. Because he's been very, very talkative on there. And then also, they talked about we're getting to Batman 2. I'm not big on the Batman film. I think there's a lot of plot holes to it. I think the third act is very weak in the film. So I like Robert Pattinson as an actor. I'm not sold on him as Batman. But it's fine. I guess we can get to the Batman 2. I don't know why, but I think it was already kind of set in stone. Moving on to the Paradise Lost, which it's basically explained as a Game of Thrones-like show based on, Wonder Woman's birthplace, Themyscira in Ancient City. And honestly, if I wanna go see Game of Thrones, I'll go watch Game of Thrones. But I wonder who they're gonna cast to play Wonder Woman, if she's gonna be in it, if Wonder Woman 2 are gonna be canon to this, but I know they're kind of saying that they're kind of starting over. So I wonder how closely connected, if at all, this is to the past Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot performance, or if we're just scrapping all that and going forward with a new take on Themyscira and the gods. Considering I'm not a fan of this Tom King run, I'm not excited for this one. I'm kind of utterly shocked to see this book overnight to $50, but that's insane. But Supergirl Woman Tomorrow is as pictured based on the Tom King book of the same name, and it's a hard pass for me personally. It's definitely not a book I'd invest anything more than $1 into just to flip. Yeah, I remember reading the first couple issues of this run. I didn't even read them. I just found them in dollar bins and I had flipped through them. There's a store at LCS that was blowing out some of their new books. And yeah, it's not for me. Maybe to each their own, but I'm not a big Tom King guy. I don't really like the direction he tends to take a lot of these classic characters. Booster Gold, The Loser from the Future, is coming to HBO Max, and if I'm to put money down on anything, I think Chris Pratt is going to be good old gold. Considering we will see the whole Guardians cast make their way over into the DCU, it's a great place to stake Pratt into the universe and kind of just keep it around for, there's plenty of future projects. You always put Booster Gold into your Avengers-level Crisis Justice League films. You can give him his own team. You can do a blue and gold show or blue and gold movie or whatever. And honestly, I'm curious to see if this Booster Gold project, is connected to the Blue Beetle movie we're getting later this year in 2023. And if that one's going to stay over or if it's going to get left behind as almost an Elseworlds in comparison to this universe. But there's a lot of possibilities we could do, and there's really good concepts we could play with that character and possibly a rendition of Blue Beetle, whether it be Jaime Reyes, Ted Kord, or whoever it may be. The Green Lantern show was scrapped yet again, and we are starting fresh again. And the show is made to be very important to the overarching DCU story and plot, and it's going to feature characters like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in a true detective space cop show, which honestly sounds pretty promising. If done right, it's definitely going to be a top three project out of what we've seen announced for me personally. And based off of what we know today, at least, we could see some more development in the story come out, hopefully in the next couple months to the next year on this project. Hopefully we'll see some, set photos circulating or something of that sort. They kind of get an idea of what they're doing with this project, but I'm curious to see if, they do a detective story. Are they going to do Blackest Night? Are they going to do the Manhunters? Are they going to do Sinestro Corps War? There's a lot you could do with Green Lantern, and we've never really truly given it a good shot. Love it or hate it, the Ryan Reynolds film, it had a lot to it that they could have done much better. But they gave it a shot. I think it's about time that we come back to the Green Lantern project and push forward. So we were supposed to have that Green Lantern Corps back with the Justice League slate from like 2014, and then we were supposed to have that Green Lantern show on HBO Max, which got like rewrote like twice, and I believe it was already in pre-production before James Gunn just came in again with Safran and scrapped it. Moving on with this new Green Lantern show, whether it's the Green Lantern Corps or just the Green Lantern, and just kind of going forward with this true crime detective space cop story, which honestly I'm interested to see more in. The Authority is a shocker to me. I knew there's going to be a few in the lineup that Gunn was just going to dust off, and the Authority is no exception to that rule. Definitely one of the ones I'm most interested in to see what they do with it. And it's supposedly going to be super violent. I imagine it's going to be like the DCU's version of The Boys to somewhat of an extent. And Safran compared to Jack Nicholson's role in A Few Good Men. Sort of a group of just these anti-heroes. Not bad or good, but just in that gray area. And it sounds like they kind of get it. I also dumped my number one online. I saw the book kind of just explode. So I'll find another one. It's fun. I think it was my only copy, but I'll find another one. But honestly, I'm very curious to see what comes of an Authority show. And yeah, I think it'll be like HBO Max's version of Amazon's The Boys to some sort of an extent, just with not in story element wise or character wise, just I think in tone and character development. But I guess we'll see. Amanda Waller is also getting a solo show spinning off of Peacemaker, written by the woman behind the Watchmen show and the creator of the Doom Patrol show, which makes me even less interested in this, to be completely honest with you. Viola Davis is returning to the character, and she's great in that role, but never did I really think that she needs her own solo show. In all fairness, I wonder if she's just going to play an Oracle-type role in each season, just building up a new lineup for her Task Force X to take on some big bad or do some set missions or whatever have you. Or on the flip side, maybe it'll be a hyper-political Yellowstone type of show, with a drama following Waller, getting dirt on other, officials, senators to her, to cement her spot. Or even a mix of both. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what James Gunn has in store. Creature Commandos is an animated series that the actors will be playing the characters in live action in future projects, which I like that concept. What I don't like is, I'll be honest here, James Gunn's writing. It looks like he's taking this in a very jokish direction. From my guess, especially when you see, Weasel get thrown on the lineup here. And we've seen Weasel in the Suicide Squad movie, and it was very, very taken in a jokish manner, which is fine to an extent. But I'm a little bit fatigued on this. I mean, I love the Creature Commandos, don't get me wrong. I was not expecting to see them get a project. It's very cool, and beggars can't be choosers at the end of the day. So I'm going to withhold really all judgment, and I expect to see James Gunn regulars pop up here. At least it's a classic lineup. It's one of the first books I ever read was a Creature Commandos title. So it's very cool to see some deep cuts like this. We've got a pretty solid lineup, but it's not just the regular, basic Creature Commandos first appearance lineup either. I think we got some deep cuts here. We got Rick Flag. We've got Mazuski. I never really understood how to pronounce Doc's name. Dr. Phosphorus, which is a great pick for the lineup. Eric Frankenstein, The Bride. G.I. Robot, who's an absolute classic. And then we got Weasel. So I'm curious to see what we get from this lineup and who's cast. It's another one where I wonder if Dave Bautista will land on this lineup, whether he's Eric Frankenstein or maybe he's gonna be Rick Flag or Dr. Phosphorus or something like that. Or like, is the bride gonna be the girl who plays Gamora, Zoe? I forget her last name, but she's first actress to be in four $2 billion projects. James Gunn's gonna want to cement her in there somewheres, or maybe it'll be the girl who plays Mantis. Who knows? But I could definitely expect to see some more Guardians actors land in roles like the Creature Commandos. Brave and the Bold is on its way based off the Grant Morrison run on Batman, and it's pitting Batman with his son Damian for the first time we've ever seen in live action, and it's really the first true on-screen appearance of Batman and Robin in really the iconic duo in decades. We kind of got hints of it at Titans or whatever, but to really truly get the two of them pinned together, we haven't seen this in literally decades. I'm very interested in this one. This is another one I'm on the fence about, but I'm more optimistic than other projects announced, and I hope Professor Pig finds his way into the project. He's one of, if not my favorite modern Batman rogues, up there with Hush and the Court of the Owls. And it's the intro of the DCEU Batman, so I guess we're getting another Batman cast. Like I said before, I'm not huge on the Batman, and I'm curious to see what we're doing in another direction. There's rumors that Bale will be in this, but I think we're casting a completely new Batman, similar to what we're doing with Superman, where we're getting like a younger Superman type story. I think it'll be something kind of similar to that. On the flip side, where Batman's like a grizzled family man at this point in his life. But who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see. To round this one off, we're going to get to what I'm most excited for. A horror Swamp Thing movie's underway. And although not much was said about the project, I don't need much. Swamp Thing has always been one of my all-time favorites. I've been in dire need of a true rendition of that character. The show had a lot of heart to it, but it just kind of missed the mark, and it's a shame what happened with the budget problems. Because it really, it could have been pretty good. The Wes Craven movie is an absolute classic, but it's been way too long and is backed up by a pretty shitty remake sequel. And there's that iconic animated series that wasn't, truly swampy. It didn't really have anything to do with Swamp Thing as a character. If we really get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Although, you had kind of just Swamp Thing battling monsters, which is really all I need. But hopefully we can get a Just League Dark spinoff out of this with Deadman, the Demon, Blue Devil, Zatanna, Constantine, Spectre, Phantom Stranger, and many, many, many more that deserve true live-action takes. And I think the more sinister horror side of the DC Universe needs to be explained and explored more in greater detail on live action and the big screen. I also wonder if the Keanu Reeves Constantine 2 return is still happening and it's been connected to Swamp Thing movie, because I can't imagine Gunn is going to trash a movie that Keanu Reeves was ready to do, considering how big of a star he's become, and he's really always sort of been. Overall, I mean, it's a lineup. The 4 films coming out this year will be treated as Elseworlds, it seems, which, leaves the past actors open to come back for, like, crisis movies in the future, or other projects in general, or just reuse the actors as more Elseworlds stories. Hell, I think we can make, our Henry Cavill's, Ben Affleck's into an Injustice trilogy, but that's just me. I think that'd be really cool to see. And, honestly, you have to sell it as an Elseworlds. You have to be very obvious so you don't confuse the casual audience, because I think that's one of the major points of rebooting the DCEU. But I think there's still a lot more you can do with, HBO Max exclusives and stuff like that. But it's fun to see DC keys pop up on trending lists again. I'd rather wait give me more time for me to pick up all the DC keys I need for the PC before they really do take off. But it's still very cool to see, and I'm a big DC guy. So I'm very curious to see if this is a resurgence for DC, if, maybe it's not as exciting as it may seem. Maybe you guys didn't like it. Maybe you guys want James Gunn out of there and we want to put Snyder back. Let me know down in the comments what you think, what projects you're excited for, what projects you're not excited for. Should James Gunn have came in with Saffron? Should they have gotten rid of, the past DCEU and the Snyderverse? Let me know down below, and I hope you enjoyed. Follow me here on Facebook and Instagram for more daily content, and join the Facebook group Fandoms Unleashed for a behind-the-scenes inside scoop at Connors Comics and plenty of great discussions. And until next time, all linked in the description.